Hello and a very warm welcome to the Archery Plus show live, and I'm delighted to be joined once again by former Dutch national coach and compound archer Emil Kusters. Emil, welcome back and thank you for joining us this evening. We're bringing you all the latest news from the Hyundai World Championships in Berlin. Today, of course, was the first of the finals day and the first of the team events, the medals in the team events, and of course the places for the Paris 2024 Olympic Games were decided, the first of them anyway. So who booked their ticket to Paris and who became the Hyundai World Archery Champions? That just gave you a small taster of the action that we saw today. But first, joy for Germany. Germany's recurve women created history when they won their country's first ever gold medal at a World Championships. Their recurve women backed up their European Championship gold last year with the title at the World Championships. What an achievement for Germany's women, Emil.
Yeah, they must have been. They must be delighted to do it again in front of the home crowd after last year in Munich, and now they do it in Berlin. And you really see that the crowd helps them during their matches and cheers them on for every 10 they shoot. So they really need the crowd, and they use the crowd.
Absolutely. The European Championships, they took gold there in Munich last year, gold in Berlin this year. They must be dying for an Olympic Games in Germany.
Yeah, I think if the German Olympic Committee sees this, you're almost guaranteed an Olympic medal if you organize the Olympics. Yeah.
How impressed were you with Germany's women today? They were so consistent, weren't they?
Yeah, they were consistent both in the semifinals and in the finals, and all of the three girls, they shot really consistent scores, and they only shot eights and higher, which was very good. And yeah, that
semi-final against Mexico, that was perhaps a surprising result, do you think?
Yeah, I think beforehand you would say, okay, the Mexicans are here to win because they are the highest ranked team and they have probably on paper the best archers, but the Mexicans, they didn't really start well. They came out of the blocks really slow, and the Germans just didn't give them any chance to get into the match. And 6-0, easy win, you would say, if you look at it on paper, and then on to the finals.
Yeah, absolutely. You could just see how much it meant to those archers there. And they've got the European title, they've got the world title. What do you think their chances are for the Olympics?
I think the German girls are one of the teams that really can compete with the Asian teams. We see that obviously Korea, but also China and Chinese Taipei are the highest ranked teams on the world ranking list. But they are now closely followed by Germany. Especially last year on the World Cup circuit in 2022, the Germans practically medaled at every World Cup. They had a little bit less fortune this year, but here at the World Championships, they make up for every loss this year, and they show that they can win at the highest level. Yeah.
And they must have really believed that they could do it, especially with Korea being out.
Yeah, they were on the other side of the bracket, so they definitely had to fight for it. They competed against some very strong teams, obviously Mexico in the semifinals. But yeah, I think for every recurve team, both with the men and the women, as soon as Korea is out, you see your own chances go up by percentages, a lot of percentages.
Of course, it just opens up the field, doesn't it?
It definitely opens it up, yeah.
Absolutely. So let's have a chat then about who else has booked their tickets to Paris following that women's recurve. France, they took the silver medal. Mexico took the bronze. France, they're supposedly a team in transition, aren't they? But they didn't look like that.
No, the French they did very well this tournament. They're rebuilding a new program under the lead of a Korean coach. But they ranked pretty okay. They were top 8. You're on the side of Korea, but like we said, if Korea's out, the record opens up. And the French girls just did what is expected or what you hope to do, and that's at least to beat the teams that rank below you. So up until they met Germany, they only shot against teams that came in the competition with lower ranking scores, and they just beat them all, and then they ended up against Germany. Yeah.
Would you say that they had a favourable draw in that case, or is it just a case of them being better?
Yeah, well, maybe it's a favourable draw. Maybe it's a little bit of luck. Maybe it's a little bit of the weather that played a huge game yesterday. But yeah, you only have to beat the opponents that are faced against you, and you don't have to worry about all the higher ranked teams that are out.
And Mexico, quite surprised. They played a good bronze medal match, didn't they, against the Netherlands? But do you think it was maybe too little, too late?
I don't think the Mexicans will say it's too little, too late, because they still return home with a bronze medal at the World Championships and 3 quota places for Paris. So for them, it's still a perfect score, obviously.
And Turkey, of course. Turkey's men have also booked their place in Paris. They took the silver medal. It was a big ask, wasn't it, facing Korea?
Yeah, they did well. They actually won a set, but Korea, you see that if in the finals venue where the weather is okay and where they can do their own thing, Korea is just one of the best teams, if not the best team.
You'd be crazy to bet against them, of course. And Japan, they were interesting, weren't they? They, of course, they've got their ticket to Paris, but did they perhaps throw it away against Turkey? They did have match points, didn't they?
The third archer, they had 1 match point where the third archer could clinch the match with a 9. I wouldn't say they threw it away. He barely missed a 9. It was just it wasn't his match. He already shot a couple of 8s. Didn't hit the 10 yet, so it was not that it was his worst arrow of the match. It was just like a centimeter out. And then they got beaten in the 4th set for a shoot-off and beaten in the shoot-off. But he did score a good arrow in the shoot-off, but that was a little bit too late. And
of course, Korea just far too strong for the rest of them. And not only did Korea's recurve men take the gold, but it was an interesting result, not an interesting result, perhaps not a surprising result at all, in the men's compound. The mixed compound, the Korean team unbeaten since 1985, I believe.
No, I think the mixed team is only since 2011, so it's only seven mixed team finals. So they still unbeaten, yeah. Yeah,
that was a mixed recurve. I do apologise. Yeah. I'm getting ahead of myself here. Yes, the Korean recurve mixed team continued their unbeaten run. What's it like when you face a team that's been that dominant? Is it over before you even step on the field of play? Do you think, I've got no chance here?
Yeah, well, if that's the way you step on the field, it probably is. I would just look at it like it's your chance to be the first one to actually beat them. Which gives you a great opportunity to write history, and I hope every team that steps on the field with them is going in that match with that feeling. They are not unbeatable in mixed team. If you look at all the results of last couple of years, they're definitely not winning all the mixed team events. Because it's only 2 archers and it's only like 12 to 16 hours. They can be beaten, but nobody has been able to do it at the World Championships yet. Yeah.
I'd ask you to put your neck on the line, Emil. If anyone were to beat them, who do you think is the most likely?
At this point, I would bet my money on the United States. They have a very strong team with Brady Ellison and Casey Koffold. They showed that by winning in Medellin. So if I would say, if I had to put all my money on one team, I would put it on the US. But there are definitely other teams that can do it as well. If you look at the Dutch team, they have a strong team with Steve Weiler and Gabi Schlösser, who came second in Tokyo Olympics. But other teams as well, Chinese Taipei, Germany with one of the girls and Florian Onru. They're all strong teams, and you just need a little bit of good fortune at the right moment to beat them. But it is possible, definitely.
It's big pressure though, isn't it, to be part of that team thinking, well, for the last 6 World Championships, my country's unbeaten and I have to continue that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. But I think the Korean archers are prepared for that. If you can qualify for the Korean team and you're in that top four, and then at the World Championships you outrank all your teammates, then that's a sign that you're in good shape and that you can do it. So
How much competition is there to actually get into that team?
yeah, it's madness. They say it's the hardest competition there is in archery. I think the top 25, top 30, maybe even more, could easily compete at the World Championships and would still be in medal contention. So,
They're not number one ranked team in the world, though, are they?
and not in mixed team, no. No, they faced a couple of defeats at the World Cup circuit. So, and the World Championships are only once every 2 years. That's where the big points are. But the World Cups give you a lot of world ranking points as well. So, I think they're actually at 3 at the moment, but with this result, they might climb up the ladder again and regain that first spot.
They might, but everyone's beatable, as you say.
Yeah.
Anyway, so let's move on to the compound category. And history was made earlier today by India's women, who were absolutely incredible, weren't they, Emil? They won gold in the women's team compound. How impressed were you with them?
Yeah, it was early in the morning, and it was super impressive to see them. They have, well, it's an Indian women team, but 2 of them are actually, they're just girls. They are 18 and 17 years old, and to see them shoot so strong and so confident on that finals arena and barely miss a 10, it's really impressive. They had, I think, they had the highest points together with one of the men team. So with 235, they were in not ideal weather conditions, so they were really close to the world record for probably 22 of the 24 hours. So very impressive, yeah.
Yeah, amazing. And they beat Mexico, who were just 3 points behind with 2 ends to go. And Jyothi Vennam, of course, always so impressive. She shot their final arrow to seal that win, didn't she? How much pressure would she have been under at that point?
Probably a lot of pressure, but she is dealing with it very well from the outset. She has a lot of experience, and I think that's the reason why she's on the 3rd spot on the team, to really be the anchor that the team needs. She obviously has some individual medals as well, so they know she can finish. She's a winner, and she's so calm and collected and she just did it with an amazing shot, and that was it.
But Aditi Swami and Parnit Kaur, like you said, just teenagers, they were also really calm, weren't they? They said there was a lot of noise in the stadium during that final, but they remained focused. That's really impressive for such young athletes, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really impressive. If you saw the show, and Karim Bashir, the commentator, also mentioned, it's like you would expect, because they have an Italian coach, that there would be a lot of passion, but they actually hired the Italian coach, who was probably the calmest guy on the field. Sergio Pagni is always very nice and very relaxed, and I think he gives that attitude to the athletes as well, and they are very modest, and they are there to do their thing, and they're not very overexcited. They're just very calm and collected. Yeah.
Yes, it's certainly an really impressive attitude, and of course impressive skill to do,
Yeah.
to do what they did. How far can this team go, given they're still so young?
Well, I hope for them that in their lifetime they can shoot for an Olympic gold medal, obviously, because they now have the World Championship title. In archery, that's the highest it gets for compound archery. So how high can they go? Yeah, they can win it every other year. And these girls, especially the 2 young girls, they can stay, well, for the next 5 to 6 World Championships easily, and they're still in their early 30s. So it's definitely they can definitely win a lot more medals at the World Championships.
Certainly names to look out for in the future. And Poland, they sent shockwaves through the tournament when they took gold in the men's team event. They beat Denmark in a dramatic shoot-off where both sides shot perfect 30s in an impressive display. You were watching that one. You were gripped by it, weren't you, Emil?
I was on the front of my chair the whole match. It was absolutely amazing to see. You would have expected maybe that the Danes, because of their experience, would walk away with it, maybe even easily. But you saw that the Polish guys, they really stuck into it, and halfway they were leading by 1 point, and they just always kept their head up and kept in the game, and yeah, they pulled out an amazing victory through the shoot-off. Yeah.
Well, we spoke yesterday, didn't we, about this match, and you predicted that the Danes would actually win it based on their experience. But in that in those final moments where you're kind of neck and neck, you're in those really tense periods, the experience didn't pay off, did it?
Well, you can't say that the Danes lost because they shot an amazing match and they finished their match with a 59. So that's almost a perfect 59 out of 60. Well, what more can you ask? Yeah, obviously a 60, but they did really well and they shot a good score. But the Poles they did the same and they just hang on there.
You've been a national coach.
Yeah.
How do you prepare your archers for a shoot-off? How do you prepare them for that pressure?
That's what the most amazing thing about it. I think for most of it, pressure you have to learn in the situation itself. It's really hard to replicate like that pressure in training because an athlete will always subconsciously know that it's not real, that it's fake. So that's why I predicted the Danes because they actually been in those situations before. So that's just impressive how they did it. It's the hardest part in archery for a coach, but also for an athlete, is to prepare somebody for these high stake games. Yeah.
How do you prepare yourself?
How
do you stop your hands shaking? It must happen.
Yeah, you do it with you try everything with relaxation exercises, breathing exercises, maybe even some meditation, things like that. As a coach, even the coaches are very nervous, and you could see they have a very nice lady behind them, and if you see the stills of her, she is like trembling of anxiety, but you just try to not bring that over to your archers, and just stay positive and help them through the match. But you could see that these guys they did it. They did a lot by themselves, and they coached each other very well, and they kept talking with each other, coaching them on the wind, on everything that happened, which is very nice to see.
Yeah, that communication is so important, and it's great to see the emotion on their faces after it meant so much to them.
Pure joy how they were jumping around on the stage. Yeah, for
absolutely,
them, it meant the world.
It's great to see that. Let's move on then and talk about Reo Wilde and his coaching role with Korea. He's got one win, one loss. Is it working for him? Is it not? Is it too soon to tell? What do you make of all of this?
I think it's too soon to tell. He's not in Korea full time, I think, because he has a family in the United States, so he travels back and forth, and he's only joined them in I think in April or something at the start of the season. Korea already won World Championship and World Cup medals with compound before Reo Wilde, and now they win a bronze with the ladies team, and they come forward with a man team. They still have a man in the individual tournament, so I don't think you can say yet that Reo Wilde did what Reo Wilde brought there. I think that's more of a long term. I think he's also there to develop the whole compound system, so they have a continuously stream of athletes, so they can build up a real compound program if compound is added to the Olympics. Yeah.
But to take your first coaching job with a Korean team is going to be a big ask, isn't it?
It's a big ask, but Reo Wilde is very well known in the archery world, in the compound world. He's a multiple world champion himself. So I think if somebody can do it based on the experience he has, the knowledge about equipment he has, the knowledge about coaching, about performing at the highest level, it's Reo Wilde, because he did it all. Yeah.
I mean, we know in some sports like football, for example, the turnover of coaches is quite quick. Yeah. Is it as ruthless in archery? How much time will he be given?
Well, I know for a fact that at the recurve side of archery in Korea, they alternate the coaches a lot. It's to keep all the coaches engaged. It's to keep all the coaching fresh. So none of the coaches is there for like a very long time. I think Reo Wilde will be there for a couple of years, but I don't think he will be there for the next 5 to 10 years. I think he's there now in the next 2-3 years to bring his knowledge, to help Korean coaches develop, because I think at some point the Koreans want to be able to coach the compound archers themselves. So I think it's probably I think it's 2 to 3 years that we will see Reo Wilde there.
And in terms of how he balances his time, you mentioned that he's splitting his time between home in the US and Korea. Do you think that balance will shift and he'll spend more time in Korea with the archers?
Depends. We all know that Korea has a lot of funding. If the Olympics are in the United States, it wouldn't surprise me if they build up the compound program for a large part in the States as well, and they just fly over the athletes to the States and set up a base there. That's something that wouldn't surprise me in the future if that happens.
Well, with so many impressive performances of the day, it's time now to talk about our Archer of the Day, chosen by our commentators Karen Bashir and Chef Vandenberg. And this archer is someone you agree with. You agree with this pick, don't you, Emil? I'm not going to try and pronounce the name, so I'll leave that to you.
Yeah. I'm going to look it up again because we talked about this a lot. I think we have to pronounce it as Zibilski, Lukasz Zibilski. Yeah, impressive. The Polish anchor, he didn't miss the 10 today. He shot nine very good shots. Even in the shoot-off, they knew they needed a 10 to win the world title, and he shot that 10. So I think, yeah, he had a day of his life, shooting 9 consecutive 10s. Bringing home the gold, yeah, and he must feel delighted and very excited to step on the line tomorrow as well.
Yeah, I'm sure, and of course, Karim and Chef were watching him lead the Polish team to that gold. So let's hear from them and get their thoughts and see why they picked him as their Archer of the Day.
Well, it was a great day of competition here, the first day of the 2023 World Archery Championships in Berlin. And I'm here with my expert commentator, Chef Vandenberg. Chef, simple question. I mean, the Olympic qualification obviously was the massive thing today. That aside, I'm looking for your Archer of the Day.
Yeah, we've had so many archers to pick from today because we've had so many matches, but I think one standout for me was Lukasz Zibilski from the Polish compound team that historically got their first World Championships ever in the compound men's team, and he just cleaned that whole match. He only shot 10s, even when it mattered most. So
yeah, look, let's just delve a little bit into Poland itself, because Poland being here was never in anyone's pick. I don't think anyone thought that they would make it all the way through to the gold medal match.
no, and not to make it into the gold medal match with the team, but also 2 archers from Poland are still in contention for the individual title. So they've just outdone themselves so far in this competition.
And then the key thing about Zibilski himself, because they all shot well as a team. There was a good dynamic within the team. But Zibilski himself going clean with 10s all the way through and then going to a shoot-off. And Denmark shooting 3 10s themselves. I mean, it came down to a measure. But the real pressure came on that last arrow for Zibilski. It was the final arrow, and he needed the 10, and then they were assured the gold medal.
Yeah, it was in that regard, it was a pretty difficult pick as well, because the first arrow of the Polish team by Kostecki was like the best arrow on the field. So arguably that was as important as the last arrow. But I think just the added pressure of knowing you needed a 10 to win that match and delivering is what stood out to me most.
So there you have it. Chef's Archer of the Day is Łukasz Zibilski from Poland.
Well, you heard there from our commentators Karen Bashir and Chef Vandenberg, who were lucky enough to see all of today's action playing out live, but they did have a tricky job in deciding on their Archer of the Day, and there were plenty more names that they could have picked from.
Yeah, definitely. They could have picked one of the Indian girls, obviously. They could have picked, there are more archers that really didn't miss, barely missed. One of the Danish kids only missed his last arrow. I think Mike Schlesser shot all but his last arrow in the 10. So there are a lot of athletes who had a great day on the field, but I think still he stands out.
Indeed, and you said one of the Indian girls should also get an honourable mention, one of those 3 gold medal winners from the compound team. And Jyothi Vennam, she's been an impressive performer throughout the week, so let's take a little look at her in action.
India at 22 years old taking on the 24-year-old Turkish athlete, yes, in Boston.
It was my fourth World Championship, the 2019 one in the Netherlands. We had experienced a lot of weather changes in that tournament maybe because we had rain, we had wind, we had a bright sunny day and everything. In the team matches we have been into the bronze medal and even in the individual.
The team from India and the 22-year-old Jyothi Vennam.
I really wanted to make it big in the world stage, like winning an individual medal in the world stage means a lot because no Indian women from compound did that.
A 10 or a 9 closer and Vennam has got the bronze. Oh, she's got a 10 and she's got the bronze at the World Championships. Amazing stuff.
And at the last I took 2 bronze medals home and I was happy. It was my first individual medal at the world stage and I felt so happy, but I had a few bad experiences in that tournament and I couldn't make it to the final. So I just hope this time I'll not take a chance and I want to be in the finals. I agree it's difficult being in the top level at the world stage, but I feel so happy that I made it again in the consecutive World Championships to the finals. It has been amazing so far and I'm really looking forward to the final matches ahead. I think I have been consistent in shooting my scores and focusing on my form.
A little bit of a bigger spread. I mean, there's still a great grouping and another perfect score for Vennam.
Shooting at 10 like on and on, I think it's an addiction. When you feel confident that you have executed the right thing and it's going to be an X or 10, I think that makes me quite a bit exciting. Talented, of course, yes, because without talent, no one can come this far and sustain such a long period. So I do feel I'm talented, not only talent, but I also feel that you have to have some luck along with your hard work to be here and to win medals. And also I have been with great team members who have been always so supportive, coaches and the staff.
अब तो आप पूछ रही हो, अब आवाज़ निकल रही होगी अब तो।
I think everyone who is here in top 8 are really great because they have done an amazing job. So that is the reason they are in the top 8. And I know I have to face a lot of top archers. I think it gives a great new experience. Bronze was a big boost to my confidence actually that I can make it to the world's podium. And I'm really looking forward to change the color of my medals.
Well, there seems to be no stopping India's compound archers. Of course, the women took gold in the team event earlier today, but now we turn our sights to tomorrow's individual final. India have got 3 out of 8 archers in that final. Of course, we saw Jyothi Vennam there, and she's one of those archers who's gone into that final 8. Of course, her teammates, Punit Kaur, Aditi Swami. Out of those 3, do you think India have a chance of at least one medal?
Yeah, I think they are almost guaranteed one medal because they're all at the same side of the bracket together with Sanne de Laat from the Netherlands. So, well, 2 of the Indian girls will shoot against each other, so they definitely have one of them in the semi-finals. And if the other one beats Sanne de Laat, and if Swami beats Sanne de Laat, then they have 2 girls shooting against each other in the semis, and then you have a guaranteed gold medal match and a medal with it. Yeah.
How do the archers feel when they've won a gold in the team event. They've created history. They've had this incredible moment together, and then the very next day they have to shoot against each other.
Well, I think it's usually on World Cups, it's on the same day. You have compound Saturday and recurve Sunday. So the team matches from compound are in the morning, and then in the afternoon you shoot the individuals. Now they have an extra night between that, so they can, those emotions and all that adrenaline, it can go down a little bit, so they can really focus on the individual matches. So I think for them, it's even nice that it's on 2 separate days and not on the same day. Yeah.
Well, we can see Jyothi Vennam there from that World Cup win in Antalya when she beat the world #1, Sara Lopez. So she knows she can do it on the biggest stage. She must be feeling really confident heading into tomorrow.
Yeah, I think she's very confident in at least reaching the finals. But she's on a very heavy schedule. It's definitely not easy to beat teammates. But well, if you need to meet him, you want to meet him as late as possible in the tournament. So. Well, they at least they are guaranteed a couple places in the semi-finals, yeah, or 1 place.
And here is Aditi Swami. What do you make of her chances tomorrow?
Obviously, she's the under-18 world champion, where she beat some impressive athletes. She beat Reo Wilde, who won a World Cup in the seniors. So you really see that these young girls in the juniors and even in the under-18s, they are starting. They can even compete at a senior level. And that's very good to see. So I think, obviously, I think the Swami against Vennam, if that would pan out to be the semi-finals, will be a very exciting semi-final to see.
Yeah, certainly an intriguing one. Anyway, where has this Indian dominance come from, though?
I don't know. They have obviously they have maybe a little bit of luck that they have a couple of talented archers at the same time to build a program, but I think they. Over the years, with the men, they had a good program. They had with Abhishek Verma and other athletes who really made it to the World Cup podia. And now they have it with the girls. They hired a coach from abroad. They hired Sergio Pagni from Italy, a very well-established compound archer himself, with a wealth of knowledge about equipment and about technique and about the mental aspect of compound archery. So I think that all helps them to build a program and to, even at a young age, already compete like they are doing it for ages. Yeah.
Are we about to see then a prolonged period of Indian dominance in the women's compound category, do you think?
It's a possibility, yes, definitely, because well, these girls they can stay in the compound scene for another 10, 15 years easily. So. If they can keep this up and if they are not challenged by others, they can. But I definitely think they will. Other countries will be on the lookout to kick them off that throne again, because I think Sara Lopez and Ella Gibson, they won't surrender yet. Obviously not. They will be on that stage as well.
Indeed, and of course we have got another intriguing matchup tomorrow. We've got Mr. Perfect, Mike Schlosser, taking on Martin Demsbo. You're looking forward to that one, aren't you?
Yeah, from all the quarterfinals with the compound man, that's the one I'm looking forward to, because I trained with Mike when he was at the training center and when I was a coach, and I competed together with Martin Demsbo when I was an archer myself from the juniors and in the seniors. So that's a match I'm really looking forward to, yeah. Very good friends, both of them. So.
Well, how do you watch a match like that when both of them are your friend? Who do you cheer for? How do you feel when you see them both?
Yeah, in honesty, they are both very good friends, so then I'm picking my compatriot and I'm going for Mike simply because he's Dutch.
Here he is winning 10 years ago. He's attempting the same feat 10 years on. That's really quite incredible, isn't it?
Yes, but I think you see it more in compound archery that athletes can have a very long career. So Martin Demsbo is already on the World Cup circuit since 2006, so it's already in his 17th season. So with compound archery, you have a long longevity. So, yeah.
And your predictions were possibly a little off yesterday, but I want to know who.
For reminding me.
Sorry, I'm just being realistic with you, Emil.
Yeah.
Who do you think is going to win this one?
I want to predict a final. I think it will be a Zbyszko Schlosser final for the men, and maybe a Becerra Vennam final for the women. But I'm really looking forward to some of that semi-finals as well. And even Heini, the Turkish guy who ranked first, is going to meet Zibilski. So Zibilski has a very strong match in the morning, but he already shot at the stage. He knows how the stage is. He knows how the wind is. He didn't miss the 10 yet. So in that matchup, I would give him the best odds. So I think it will be him against I hope, but I also think Mike Schlusser in the final.
Let's watch this space, shall we? So let's have a little look then at the compound lineups for tomorrow, the final 8. Looking through the women's names, have we got anyone in there who's perhaps a surprise, or is that as we'd expect?
Yeah, if you look at how they all ranked, you see that only 2 of the top 8 actually made it until the top 8, so that's quite surprising. I think that tells a lot about how the weather was. The weather is, we discussed that yesterday, is a big equalizer in archery. And a lot of the lower ranked archers made it to the top 8. So that makes it very unpredictable in terms of who's going to win this. Only the 2 Indian girls were ranked 3 and 6, I think, I believe, or 2 and 6. So, but the others are quite surprising. But you see that all of them can compete very well.
And in terms of the top 8 in the men's, what are your thoughts on that lineup then? We've talked about Damsberg, we've talked about Schlusser, that's certainly one to look forward to, but out of the rest of those names in there, are there any who you're excited about seeing? Are there any unexpected names?
Obviously, I think the number 1, Heini, we shouldn't forget him. He didn't rank number 1 out of the blue. He shot a really nice score, so he'll probably be attempting to shoot for that gold medal as well. Yeah.
Certainly a lot to look forward to tomorrow. Anyway, it's getting exciting with all these medals at stake. Anyway. So thank you very much, Emil, for your insight and for your predictions. I'm going to come back to you tomorrow and see if any of what you said turns out to be true, because I know yesterday you did get a couple wrong, but I think you did manage to get 1 or 2 right, so shouldn't be too hard on you. But
I'm very happy that I called out the German girls.
You did, yes, you did. You got Denmark wrong there. You predicted Denmark beating Poland, but none of us saw that coming, I don't think. Maybe not even the Polish themselves. Many thanks to you as well for tuning in. This has been Archery Plus Live. We've been bringing you all the news and analysis from the Hyundai World Championships in Berlin. And of course, there's still plenty more to look forward to. The coverage continues. It's being shown worldwide by broadcast partners, and the following sessions, they're being streamed live on World Archery's YouTube channel and via the Olympic channel in certain territories. So the morning session will be the women's finals. That starts at 8 a.m. UTC. And the men's finals are shown from 12 noon UTC. So make sure you tune in. Emil and I will certainly be watching those, and live scores, of course, they'll be available on the World Archery website, and there'll be coverage on World Archery's digital platforms too throughout the competition. So very many thanks for joining us this evening, and we look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Many thanks to Emil as well. He'll be back with more insight and more analysis into the World Championships.